Grant, I'm taking a look at these beautiful pictures of something that you call an Ecopod, these renderings, which are absolutely beautiful. Tell me about kind of how this design was conceived and sort of what your intentions are with this particular design and its functionality.
Okay, so the Ecopod, we originally built our first prototype about 2.5 years ago now. Actually, we put it in the water about 2.5 years ago. And it was just a box, an octagonal shaped box. Was not pretty at all to look at. You would not be inspired to want to live there. It looked, it didn't look very pretty at all. So
yeah, I think I'm looking at that right now, and it looks like kind of a floating, floating like a Coast Guard dock or stand of some kind.
Yeah, it's not. When I got involved, I wanted to make something that was inspiring, that people would be inspired to want to live on the ocean, because it's something that's totally different. And if you say, okay, here's what it looks like, people would be like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So we wanted to come up with a really inspiring design. And we started drawing out ideas and different concepts for what a nicer house might be. And the first thing was, we need to have bigger windows, like really big windows. And so I was really pushing for that at the beginning. And the original windows on the original prototype were like that big. And so I was talking with my partners and said, we have to have bigger windows. And they finally came back about a week or two later, after quite a bit of trying to coax them into it because they didn't want to do it. They eventually came back with bigger windows, and they showed me the bigger pictures, and they went from this size to this big. That's like, no, we need huge windows. I want the windows to be so big that you always, wherever you're standing, you have an incredible view of the water, of the scenery, because that's the big selling feature. So we wanted to have something that was just, windows basically all the way around. So the next design was intended to have windows that would go 360 degrees all the way around, so you can see everything from every angle, and you'd have a really gorgeous view. So that was a big part of the design push that I made right from the beginning.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Again, you're kind of, when I'm looking at it, shows sort of like a panoramic type of a view, and you feel like you've got this indoor-outdoor type of a living thing. You're literally, right there on the water, which again, I guess is the kind of the whole point, I guess, if you're on the water, is you want to be able to enjoy all that amazing scenery.
Yeah, and the original model, the prototype was called Ixley. Not a sexy name, but it represents like 42, which is the answer to the question of the universe or something like that from that movie. I can't remember the movie name now, but that's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe, maybe. Yeah, that might.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was symbolic for that. But so we wanted, a nicer name would be something like the Ecopod. But we wanted to also have, since you're living on the water, the best place to be is not just indoors, but like enjoying the environment. So we wanted to have, the original design had a walkway all the way around, so you can set up chairs, you could be sitting outdoors, you could be outdoors. And in the last 2 years, we've learned a lot, and we decided, well, if you're going to be outdoors, you want to have some good cover. So we made some changes to the outdoor area. Instead of having a walkway all the way around, we decided to have it all in one area. So you'd have a section of the curve basically cut out, and that would be a section that would be outdoors, like a totally outdoor section. And then that you'd have these huge sliding doors that can open, and then that basically turns your kitchen and living room into an outdoor space. So you can really enjoy being in the outdoors and on
really
the water.
Cool. And one of these other renderings I'm looking at, you've got, it almost looks like you sort of have like a little window down below that you can walk on, that you can actually see the ocean, from above. which is so cool and such a unique view to have, which most people don't ever get the chance to see.
Yeah, good eye for seeing that.
I love
actually. That's we would like to, we're in talks with a couple potential partners to build some cool accessories and add-ons for SeaPods. One of them is a camera that would be at the bottom of the SeaPod, or Ecopod in this case, and you would be able to see what's below you. You'd be able to see the fish moving around. You'd be able to see whatever's down there. You'd be able to see it under you, and you'd have this, like, it's almost like a glass bottom boat, but you'd have like a monitor on the floor somewhere. You could have it someone suggested maybe in the shower, so you can actually watch the fish or something in the shower. And then you'd have a remote control that you'd be able to move the camera around and see different angles. So if you wanted to move the camera around and look at something else underwater, then you could do that. Eventually we might have this tied in with having it track different things. So if you wanted to track, if there's movement, then you can have it automatically track to see maybe there's a turtle swimming by, and it automatically zooms to that animal. So that's kind of a cool idea to have in your home.
Yeah, that's super fun. Or if there's that, little baby shark that swims by, you can catch that, which is really, really cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. And another feature of this is the original octagonal shape. I didn't like the boxy kind of look, so I really wanted to have something was smooth, curved, rounded all the way around. So we made this the new version of Ixley was going to be totally round, and then also have a patio on the top floor. The Ecopod, we've decided not to put a patio on the top floor, but instead have that as it's actually the roof will actually have a slight curve inwards. So when it rains, all the water will collect and go down into storage tanks. So you can get basically unlimited free water from the rain that can be used for washing dishes or any other purpose you want.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. Now, as far as, obviously, that reminds me that the name of this particular pod is Ecopod. What do we mean when we're talking about Ecopod? Did you select that name because obviously you're kind of living in the environment on the water, or are we doing things maybe to support a more sustainable living type of environment, or what exactly does that look like?
Well, eco came from a couple, it can mean a couple of different things. It can mean ecological, and it can also mean economical, because we designed the SeaPod and the Ecopod and anything we're putting on the water to be ecological, and not just ecologically neutral, but actually contribute back to helping to restore life on the ocean. So the Ecopod is good for the ecology, the marine ecology. And so that's a big part of it. That's like core fundamental piece of this. If we were just building a home, I wouldn't be interested in building a home. I really have no interest in doing that. But if we're building a home that can be ecological and do all these other amazing things and help improve what we're doing on land, because we're trying to figure out how to live on the water and do it better than we've done on land, then that's something that's really inspiring to me, to be able to make an impact like that. So that's really where I'm coming from on this. So ecological, economical as well. It's a big part of this. When we came up with from the very beginning, we always had the goal of having something that was affordable for the average household, in the United States to be able to afford. So we wanted to have something in the $150,000 to $195,000 price range to start, and
Wow.
Have something there. And we don't know fully what the price is going to be yet, because we're still, once we have the full unit completed, put together, deployed on the water, then we'll know, we can add up all the costs. But we do a lot of estimates, but this is something no one's ever done before, so it really is hard to get an exact price, because things come up. We don't know everything that's going to come up, so we're just figuring it all out as we go along.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, there's some new problems that you definitely wouldn't have with a home on the land. So I imagine that is going to be, you're kind of inventing as you go along. But that, I mean, that price, even if it's anywhere close to that price point, I'm actually really shocked because, you know, just looking at all these amazing photos or drawings, it's pretty incredible. So that would be really cool to be able to have basically anybody who wanted to be able to afford it.
Yeah, we're doing our best. We're going to do everything we can to have a low entry point for people. And the SeaPod, which is our flagship product, we really, that's been our big push for the last 2.5 years, is to get this the SeaPod built. But that's much more complex. Like the curves on that are incredibly complex. And that makes it a lot harder to build. That's why it's taken us so long to get from, you know, the starting point to here, where, you know, we're just getting close to launching it.
Sure.
But we wanted to have something that we could produce much faster and much easier, because that would make it more economical if we can make it faster and make it easier with and assemble them more easily, maybe deploy them more easily, maybe ship them more easily. I was on a plane a while ago and I met someone that owned a golf course, and he wanted to have one of our units on his golf course. And then we had to figure out, okay, like, how do we get it from our factory here in Panama to his location, which was across the country? So we figured, okay, we can maybe find a way to make our SeaPod in a way that can be put into a container. And then, so when we designed the Ecopod, we wanted to make sure it was something that we could fit into a container, so we could ship it from here to there, but not just from here to there, but we have people all over the world that want SeaPods and Ecopods. So we want to have something we can easily ship and then easily assemble at the other end.
Right. Now so this could be something that would be deployable on land then as well?
Yep, it can be land or sea. Our primary interest is putting them on the water, because I think that's just so much better than living on land. But people are used to living on land, and so that seems to be the biggest market right now. People are asking for land pods all over the world. So probably 70% right now want land pods or green pods on the land. So we're accommodating that market. It's not our primary target market, but that's what people want, and give the people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, even just, you know, like the location that you are in right now would be obviously also a lovely place to put one of those too, those green pods.
Yeah, like the nice thing about the Ecopod on the land is that you can have like all these trees here. You don't have to cut the trees down to put your house up. Like normally you clear cut all the trees, you take out all the ground, and you put it, like, all the dirt, and you put in concrete, you build the house up, you put an artificial structure up. With the land pod version of the Ecopod, we can just need a 1.6 meter footprint, and we put that into the ground several meters, and you know, put in concrete and make it very a secure foundation, and then you can have your house in the trees. It's the modern treehouse.
Treehouse.
Yeah.
I love that idea too. That's really cool to be able to literally be nestled in between trees. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, that's a pretty good overview of what we're looking for and what we're trying to create with the Ecopod. And we really tried to keep it simple. The mold that we have for our flagship product, the SeaPod, has 12 pieces, pie-shaped pieces on the roof, and it has 16 pie-shaped pieces that make up the base, the bottom half. And then there's 2 pieces at the side and then 1 piece at the front. So that's like 30 different molds.
Wow.
And that's very complicated, and that's hard to get into production, into more locations and ship in more locations. The Ecopod we've reduced it down to one mold that makes the whole structure. And
Wow.
we have two different versions of it. One where you'd have one mold that makes the entire structure, or the other version has one that makes the bottom and then one that makes the top. And that's the one that has the rainwater catchment.
Got it. That's really cool. Now, just to clarify, what are we talking about square footage wise for the GreenPod or the Ecopod or the SeaPod? What are the approximate sizes of these things?
They are 10 meters diameter, and they are 2.4 meters tall ceilings. Actually, those are the windows, and then the ceilings are 2.7 and up to 3 meters on the inside. So that's pretty tall ceiling, which really gives you that feeling of spaciousness.
Yeah, especially in a structure that is, not large as a home, as a normal home, but it's looking like, let's see, I'm just reading this, but 800 square feet is the size of the Ecopod?
Yeah, that sounds about right. So it's, I can't remember the formula. Pi r squared is the formula for the square footage, so that it's 10 meters diameter, that's 5 meters radius, so radius squared times 3.14 is about 77 square meters, and then convert that into square feet, that's about 800 and change square feet.
Nice. I do not remember any of my trigonometry, so that means nothing to me, but yeah, I think that feels like a pretty big size for something that you're gonna literally put on the water. So that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not huge, but it's a very comfortable size for two people to live in.
Yeah, especially when it's you have the large windows, the high ceilings, and of course a beautiful panoramic view doesn't hurt either.
Yeah. And then we kind of have a basement, not a formal basement, but we kind of have a basement because the floors, under the floors, there's it actually bows like around the bottom, like the base of the structure is 1.6 meters tall at the center. So that's big enough to have a walk down mini basement. So we'll have the like washer dryer down there, storage, lots of storage, freezer. So you can walk around. It's only 1.6 meters tall, so that's short. You'd have to, duck your head a little bit, but you don't go down there all the time. But actually, we're engineering the space under the bed because the bed will be elevated. So as soon as you walk down the stairs, the bed area is going to be right there, and you'll be able to stand straight there because the bed on the inside is raised, and then there's there's extra headspace there. So it's maybe 1.8 meters tall in that area. So
awesome.
You can have all your storage and stuff that connects there. And then there'll be lots of other storage space as well, but it just won't be as tall and as easily accessible.
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, it sounds like everything is very thoughtfully designed as far as just maximizing every single square foot to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. We put a lot of design attention into it. This is coming together very, very quickly. And it came together because in August, we launched the floating half of the SeaPod in the water, and we were still 4+ months away, looking more like 6 months away from actually having the SeaPod ready to put on top. So we were like, well, okay, we need to build something really quick that we can put on top. So like we just went to town and came up with we actually we went back in our archives of what we've already done, like what we had from design from April 2019, and we dug up the original predecessor to the Ixley design, which was basically exactly what we're doing right now. It just has, instead of having the walkway all the way around, it just has the outdoor patio in that one area, which allows us to have more of a cover in that particular area. So that it came together really nicely because we already had a lot of the design done. We just had to work through details and then apply all the knowledge we've learned over the last 2 years with making SeaPods to try to improve the production process with this. So when by the time the first of the Ecopods is produced, we're going to be able to pull the trigger on going into mass production. So everything we're doing from the very beginning on this project is set for mass production. So mass meaning after the first 6 months of testing, we'll be able to say, okay, yes, no other changes needed, or maybe we tweak this and tweak that, but we can easily then order 100 sets of windows, 100 sets of the base structure, 100 sets of the roof structure, 100 sets of the floating structure, 100 sets of everything, 100 washer, dryer, like everything's being set up so we can just have it like send 10 emails out to different suppliers and manufacturing partners and have things in production right away.
Yeah. Along that vein, so how long would let's say someone wanted to put a deposit down, how long would it be from the time that they do that to the time that they actually receive their home?
We should be launching like right now we're not taking deposits or anything. We're not doing pre-sales yet, but we'll start doing pre-sales probably around April, May timeframe, 2022. And we expect to be able to start delivering those late next year. And by the end of next year, we plan to have at least 100 in production or with some of those having been delivered already. And
that's exciting. So it's pretty soon then.
It's pretty soon, yeah. People are like, when they ask us about these, they're like, how long, is it going to be like 2024, 25, you're going to be ready? It's like, no, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to take longer to like order a Tesla than it would be to to order one of these homes. Well, so that's really cool.
Yeah. Our production capability is going to be pretty low in the beginning, but we'll scale that up as fast as we can.
Sure.
But yeah, next year, I'd like to have 100 in production or at some scale of some level of delivery by the end of next year. And then the year after, they'll go up dramatically from there. And every year after that, it will go up.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, was also wondering location-wise, so obviously right now your sort of home base is there in Panama. Do you see a lot of these homes being asked for in remote parts of the world, or where do you see maybe them being a little bit more in demand, I guess, or where would you say would be the areas that people are probably going to want them?
We have people all over the world that are asking for them. We have a lot of inquiries from Florida, actually. There's a ton.
Nice. Can see that.
Florida, yeah. And actually all that swampland people joke about all the time about buying worthless swampland in Florida that you can't do anything with.
Yep.
This technology actually makes that into valuable property. Other than the mosquitoes, you'd have to figure out a solution for that. But these could be deployed in places that you can't normally put homes very easily, or places where you want to be more ecologically conscious and not destroy all the land where you're putting them, so we can put them on land. And then maybe the intercoastal waterway in Florida might be a nice place as well. Mountain areas, in lakes and rivers and all over the United States. Canada would be a great place as well. We need to winterize them for northern climates, which we haven't spent any time figuring out yet, but it's not a big project to do. It's pretty easy to do that, but we have lots of people in Europe, so pretty much anywhere people want to live, we can put them.
I love it. So yeah, it sounds like they're versatile, and I'm just curious to see kind of which areas they would thrive best in, or where people were probably most attracted to them. But I love the idea of being able to utilize, those spaces, that land that normally you just can't do anything with.
Yeah. I'll show you on the other camera here. The location for the first SeaPods are going to go, can't see exactly here because it's behind these bushes, but there's a space. This is an island over here, and there's a space right over here where we're going to put the first SeaPod in the water that will be floating. And then on the other end of the island, there's a place right about here. We're going to put one. And then there's a few we want to put on the island. And then there's some spots over, can't get my finger down, but everything's reversed. Right around here, we're going to put them up in the hills. So there's quite a few. We're just scouting right now for locations where we'd like to put the SeaPods. Pods. And there's people contact us all the time and say, well, we have a spot of land in this country or this area, and we'd love to have you put one of your pods there. And usually they want us to pay for it and send them there for some reason. But we could probably do joint ventures or other things with people that have really nice locations and do them as Airbnbs, mini hotels, or just for their own personal home.
Love it. That's really cool. I mean, it sounds like the sky is the limit as far as application and location and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think so. It's all right. Great.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Grant. I'm really excited to actually see when these go into production, and it is just a really exciting project that I think we should be super proud of.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we definitely are very proud of it.